The following contest is scheduled for a 2-hour time limit. Introducing first, coming from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, wrestling reporter and columnist Justin LaBar. And his opponent, you. Call, tweet, email, because you can go one-on-one with Justin LaBar in Wrestling Reality right now on TribLIVE Radio.
Last night on Monday Night Raw, I got more FaceTime than Ezekiel Jackson, Heath Slater, Jinder Mahal, Yoshi Tatsu have all gotten in the last year. Big thanks to the WWE for those wonderful tickets. Thank you to all of you guys for all the pictures you guys have sent of having CSR on a random Monday night. Justin LaBar here, Wrestling Reality, one-on-one with me, presented by Tailgaters here on TribLIVE Radio. A great time yesterday at Tailgaters last night. Big thanks to everybody who got to come out, hang out, eat some good food, drink some good beer, be a part of the special broadcast we did. Hope to do that again soon. Hope to bring some details eventually about doing that again. It was a good time and a pretty, I gotta say, for Pittsburgh, they had a pretty bad spell of shows, but I gotta say overall, I didn't have too many problems with this one. We got a lot to talk about though as we were coming up on the Over the Limit pay-per-view. Let's get right into it. Triple H starts off the show. He talks about how Brock Lesnar has quit everything every time he's got challenged. He quit when he came to WWE the first time. He talks about quitting the UFC after he got challenged. I'm surprised he didn't make any mention of quitting when he couldn't make it in the NFL with the Minnesota Vikings. Paul Heyman, a lot of debate of whether or not he'd be there. He was there. He comes out with a lawyer by his side, and in another perfection of Paul Heyman promos. He explains how Triple H has screwed up and is now being sued by Brock Lesnar. Triple H then grabs Heyman, threatening to hurt him, ends up letting him go and walking away, and Heyman says that's lawsuit number 2, assault and battery. CM Punk and Santino versus Daniel Bryan and Cody Rhodes. Comical stuff. I don't know if it picked up on TV. Punk would have like a submission hold, like a sleeper on Cody Rhodes while screaming at Bryan, "You call that a beard?" Good stuff. Overall, good match. Punk and Santino get the win, and it appears via that match and the comical tweet that Rhodes sent to Santino that they are beginning a feud with the Intercontinental Champion and the United States Champion. We'll touch on that in just a little bit. Alicia Fox versus Beth Phoenix. Short, sweet, and a great view of Alicia Fox. Big Show versus Kane. This was a good match. Laurinaitis ends up distracting Big Show. Kane, it was a weak, for as physical as the match was, it was a weak chokeslam finish that ends the match. Laurinaitis then wants an apology from Big Show still, of course, going back to the, impersonating his voice and being disrespectful. He then wants him to beg. It was a long segment live. Maybe when you're watching at home live, in the moment, perhaps some commentary narration, maybe it did it for you. But, I mean, I get that you have to milk it to a certain point so it doesn't come off half-ass. I get that you have to give it a certain amount of time, so it makes the tears worthwhile. But I just hope that since the ending result in that segment was Big Show had been fired, I hope that there's an appropriate payoff later on, which we'll talk about. Brodus Clay, Kofi Kingston, R-Truth versus Jack Swagger, Dolph Ziggler, and The Miz. Another comical note that I grabbed, that I don't really think anybody would have gotten this one, but where I was sitting, Dolph Ziggler and the heels, their corner was at the corner right in front of me, and R-Truth was in the ring, and I think it was Jack Swagger who was in the ring with him, and R-Truth hits the ropes and starts doing his break. He hits the ropes and he does like the break dance and a split and all kinds of juking and jiving before he finally drops a leg drop. Well, after he does that, Ziggler turned over to The Miz, and I could read his lips and vaguely hear him say, "I don't think he break dances enough." So that was kind of a funny little in the match moment there. Brodus and company do win, and we all get funky and dance. Backstage, CM Punk and AJ. AJ wishes CM Punk the best of luck. Punk doesn't want to get involved with her, doesn't know if it's a setup. The AJ factor continues to linger out there, and this has a lot of significance. Orton versus Jericho with Sheamus at ringside. Sheamus ends up getting knocked over as a special guest commentator always does. Jericho ends up winning via DQ because Sheamus pulls Jericho out of the ring. Good old-fashioned ref pull-apart between Orton and Sheamus, all setting up for the Fatal 4-Way match at Over the Limit. Del Rio is apparently in Japan, which is why he wasn't there last night. He was in Japan doing promotional work for WWE. So does not having him at the go-home show of Raw before he's getting into a Fatal 4-Way match for the World Heavyweight title, does that take him out of any consideration to win the match this Sunday? We end the show with Laurinaitis and John Cena. John Cena making the crowd laugh as he was making the crowd laugh with all of his loser bit, and he was cracking up a lot of the WWE crew at ringside, and Michael Cole was enjoying it very much so. Eve Lewinsky, my God, why did we only see her once live? She comes out, delivers a letter, which Cena reads to Big Johnny that says, no interference on Sunday. Anybody who does interfere will be fired, and if John Laurinaitis loses, he will be fired. Wasn't what I expected for an ending, but it was a good ending. We've certainly seen worse. We got a lot to talk about. What is going to happen here at Over the Limit? What is going to take place? Also, CM Punk Daniel Bryan WWE Championship match. It seems like it's just kind of but I think I'm starting to make sense of what could be coming. 412-320-7925 is the number. sportstalk@tribweb.com is the email. And you can tweet me at Justin LaBar. We'll be back.